Constantly shifting through the time-space continuum, Metron's three disciples observe the universe from the Mobius Couch.
Baby, you're a firework. Come on. Show them what you're worth. Come on. Let your colors burst. Make them go, ah, ah, ah. You're going to leave them all in the Mobius Couch. A time-space interdimensional vehicle from which your three hosts take a detailed, hyper-specific look at Jean-Claude Van Damme's entire movie catalog. Today, we're talking about 1995's Hard Target, directed by John Woo. Pat, Joe, how are y'all doing?
I thought it was Time Cop. Did I watch the wrong movie?
Shit, is it time? Wait a minute. Maybe it is time. Let me. Oh, I think the couch, the Mobius Couch's dials look a little off. Let me. The Mobius Couch. Are we talking about comic books?
Oh,
Pat,
okay.
Joe, y'all ready to talk about comic books?
Yeah.
So excited.
Right.
So excited.
Before we get to
That's
comic
funny.
books,
Listeners, because Patrick's not excited.
oh, yeah.
So
Well, he's-
excited. Just like Jessie Spano in that episode of Saved by the Bell when she gets addicted to Ritalin.
Everyone knows that episode. It's
Yeah.
famous.
where she got
Famous
high on
episode.
fentanyl.
I'm so scared. Yeah. Good times.
Classic.
Good times.
Classic. Coming of age story for most of us. Getting high on opioids, probably. With that, actually, the today's version would be opioids. But we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah.
Also,
We're
today's
not.
lyrical intro was, of course, Beethoven's Third Symphony, Eroica.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So today we are talking about a little limited run comic book called The Human Target.
That is correct.
I don't like that it doesn't make noise.
What?
Can we
why
put
do
it
you want
back?
Make
Can we
noise?
put
We're
it back
supposed to be
where it does the
talking
bat
while that happens.
noise? It's
Just don't stop talking.
Okay, but it's unsettling. So The Human Target, of course, by Tom King. Tom King is an old friend of the podcast. We've done oodles of comic books.
Yeah, we've done oodles of Tom
oodles
King.
of them. Our very first episode was Mr. Miracle. We've done
Yeah.
Strange Adventures, and that's it. The two of the oodles is the two of those.
Is that it?
I think that's
Why do
what
I
we've
feel
done.
like we go to the Tom King well so much more than that?
I think that's
Well,
what we've done.
Yeah. I think we just
I think
done
that's what we've
two,
done.
but I think
Maybe
we've
we've just
actively
talked about doing so many other Tom King books
Yeah.
that, like, you know. Weirdly
we have
enough,
in our
this one
head,
wasn't
yeah,
on the
I-
list. This was just something that was random. That we were
Right.
Like, okay,
So The Human Target, a little bit of background. The Human Target is a pre-existing.
I'm Joe,
DC
everybody,
character.
and this is Patrick.
We already said Joe and Patrick.
Yeah, sure.
Patrick. I'm Patrick.
Got some prima donnas there. How much how much
Prima
time do you all need
donna.
for your introductions?
Yeah, and just, you know.
Okay. The Human Target, pre-existing character, Christopher Chance. The Human Target was originally another gentleman named Fred Venable, but the Human Target version, which is the man who pretends to be other people who then get assassinated, which is the Christopher Chance character, was actually created in 1972 by someone else we know and love on this podcast, Len Wein, who created the Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Alan Moore Swamp Things, but
Len
we
Wein and
referenced Len
who?
Wein. Carmine Infantino.
That's it. Legendary DC Comics.
Yeah. Also, Carmine Infantino is probably the most offensively Italian name I could invent. Yeah, it sounds like a
wonder that
Godfather
his name
extra.
hasn't been used in a Batman comic book.
Yeah, it sounds like a Godfather extra. But so they created the original Human Target, and then Tom King is kind of reviving that because it's kind of a thing he does, sort of. He takes kind of like lower list
Even
heroes and
Justice League International is kind of like B-list.
Well, especially in
type
the
thing.
Black Label. They give
Black
him
Label's all about
the
that.
characters that he gets to play with in Black Label and kind of tear apart depending on the storyline tend to be the ones that aren't, you know, A-listers.
Yeah. And so Greg Smallwood is the artist on this.
Yeah.
And together they create, it's kind of a neat vibe overall. Like it very much feels like it's almost a period piece in the 60s. Like it feels like you're watching a 60s film. I mean, Chance looks, I don't know if he was modeled on it, but he looks very much like Cary Grant in North by Northwest or something like that.
Really,
Very,
all I saw was George Clooney, or heard George Clooney's voice in my head. Did you guys not? I thought it was-
I just pictured it.
It's
all
very
kind of
Ocean's
in that
11 George
60s
Clooney.
time period. Maybe that's what that is. Yeah, but
It's
the
also
whole vibe of
so
it was
I looked
very
it up
60s.
because I was so well, not just him, but also on Ice. I was like so fixated on their faces because like they have such subtle facial expressions and mannerisms throughout the book that I was just like, these remind me of human beings, not just them, but other characters as well. But like they're the two main characters, so like I was focused on them. But yeah, it was George Clooney, but like I couldn't tell for the longest time. I was like, it's not George Clooney though. Like I was trying to figure it out in my head, and also her, to the point where I was like, I'm looking this up. What were his inspirations for these characters? So there isn't anything direct, but the answer he once gave at like a Comic-Con apparently was that it's kind of a combination of his actual face and George Clooney. So it's not like it's not directly modeled off anybody, but there is some George Clooney in there. So that's true. And then the one that I thought Ice looked a lot like what's her name from New Girl and Elf. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Zoe Deschanel?
Yeah, Zoe Deschanel. I was like, is it Zoe or is it Katy Perry? Like, whose face am I looking at right now for Ice? And apparently she's like a combination of like a bunch of different people, and it's not any one actress. But like, you know, I was like, but that's why. But there's a realism to the way they look that I was hyper focused on, and I couldn't break it until I was like, fine, I got to look this up.
Yeah, and I just want to. Oh no, go ahead, Pat.
No, I was just gonna say to your point, he is giving Cary Grant on that. Cover the first issue. I didn't really pick up on that, but yeah, that is very Cary Grant looking.
Yeah, and I didn't mean it so much as I think the character is literally modeled on Cary Grant. I just meant the whole comic feels very much like you're watching.
Yes. Oh yeah, very sure.
And that kind
it's
of
like 1960s with cell phones and laptops, pretty much.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
They modernize certain things, but like the motel he's in, like the very first page is like an old clock radio where the red dot, like you'd move the dial to get to the radio station, and the red line would move back and forth.
Oh, right, yeah.
My dad had that alarm clock. like you know what I mean? Like it, I don't. So I mean, and that's kind of like 80s-ish technology, maybe. But so it's like a mix of like antiquated old stuff with that vibe and that 60s vibe of like an old film mixed with, you know, everyone's flying around and driving normal cars.
Right, and you have a murder mystery and this sort of femme fatale type. It just feels very much like a post-noir Hitchcock thriller. But obviously lighthearted, and it's fun, and there's superheroes, but that sort of setting. So I guess before we begin, the main conceit of all of this is that Christopher Chance, the human target who we talked about, his whole thing is he pretends to be someone who's in an assassin's crosshair to take the bullet and survive, and then get the killer. But what happens this time is, we'll get to the details later, but basically he's poisoned by mistake and finds out he has 12 days to live, and he's going to spend those 12 days trying to find out who poisoned him.
Yeah.
And that's the conceit.
Who poisoned Lex Luthor?
Right, well, we'll get to that. The actual target was Lex Luthor. And then, and the whole thing is typically the human target is used to taking bullets and punches, but now he's got to take poison. That's a whole new game.
Poison. It's a women's weapon.
Old Mr. Chance. It's a whole new game.
Yeah.
All right. Should we do you want to do overall takes or just get into
Sure.
We should
let's
do it.
Let,
okay.
Let's let
Pat,
Patrick go first.
Oh, you guys want me to go first? Okay. Well, I feel like I'm going to be the contrarian on this episode because I've read this twice.
Yeah, that's why we're highlighting you.
And I think Tom King for me is becoming very much like Grant Morrison. I said this in the text thread where like Mr. Miracle is one of the best things I've ever read. I love Strange Adventures. Heroes in Crisis, I thought great premise, terrible execution. This book for me, it just wasn't for me. It was a chore to get through this for me. And I've kind of been thinking in my head, I'm like, why is this so painful for me? Why is this book? Because really, I should be loving this. And I thought about it a lot. And I think this is what I've come down to, is that going back to the George Clooney thing, I could not see George Clooney every time I saw this guy's face. So I'd hear George Clooney's voice, and specifically George Clooney from like Ocean's 11, kind of like that arrogant cockiness. And it made it hard for me to like this guy because he is a very clever, kind of cool, calm, collected character. Like he doesn't really get flustered too often. He's not like 10 steps ahead, but he's maybe 2 or 3 steps ahead. He came off more arrogant to me, and I didn't really care for him. One other thing is with the character, I started reading his dialogue as Spike Spiegel, the voice actor for Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. It made me like the character more. I think the fact that I'm like literally hearing George Clooney's voice and seeing his face as this character made me just not care for the character. So the reasons I don't like this book are pretty silly. Let me just preface that as well. The writing, so for a newer comic, this has like a lot of writing. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a ton of internal monologue. And the way almost every page you'll have Chance's or Christopher's internal monologue boxes going along with the dialogue that's happening. And my brain was having a very hard time switching from one to the other, to the point where I was kind of exhausted. And I had to, at one point, just start reading all of the boxes of his narration, then going back to the top of the page and reading all of the dialogue, because I just couldn't, my brain couldn't make sense of anything. So the writing was kind of a slog for me to get through. And then the art, like if you were to take any page from any of these books and frame it, I would hang it in my house. Like the art's fantastic. The colors are amazing. It's very stylized. He does these accents that are very sharp geometric forms, and there's lots of lines that are like very harsh cuts between the lighting. But at the same time, it was kind of exhausting reading it page after page. There was too much happening for me. And sometimes like there'd be 5 pages in a row where the color scheme would switch completely. And I think my brain just couldn't process these drastic changes in the art, as well as all of the dialogue, as well as the fact that like I just did not care for this character, the main character. I didn't care what happened to him really. So that's why I had a hard time getting through this. What I did like Ice. I loved Ice. I didn't know anything about Ice before this. I only knew that she was best friends with Fire and that she had died at one point and was brought back to life. That was literally all I knew about her. I loved how they would talk about how just like being in her presence was uncomfortable because it's just cold, and how she's kind of constantly holding in her powers, right? And it got to one point where Chance is like, she's basically is like a god, like she is. So like again with Tom King, he does these things with these C-list characters and kind of gives them this new life. And I saw her differently by the end of it. I loved her whole story arc about how she starts off as the sweet, nice one on the Justice League, and then you kind of get revealed that she's got this very strong,
aggressive,
darker, vengeful, spiteful side to her. So she was amazing. I loved her. I would completely read a book about her and Fire doing, crazy girl trips where they murder people and hide the body. Like, I love that. There's a few, and also like Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Gnort. I don't know. There's some bits when we get to it that I did really love, but overall, it was a lot for me to get to the end of this. So that's my overall.
All right. So we were joking before the podcast started, but is it Gnort or Nort? Is there a T'Challa in there? Do you pronounce the G? Is it T'Challa?
So I think typically if you pronounce the G, they would put an apostrophe, but because they don't, I think
there is an apostrophe.
Silent it. No, it's just straight GNORT.
I swear, I feel like it's
there's definitely an apostrophe.
Is what?
There's
well, then it is
Gnort.
If there's an apostrophe, there is an apostrophe. Then I think it is Gnort.
I think it's Gnort. I'm pretty sure it's Gnort.
Yeah.
I also read all Gnort's lines in the same voice as Barney.
John Candy.
And it was hilarious.
I just saw him as John Candy from Spaceballs.
He was great.
Hog-faced boy?
So, man, I feel like I have so much to respond to from what Pat said, but I'll try to keep it general. So I enjoyed it, but I like a good thriller, kind of a page-by-page mystery. I'm generally in for that kind of thing. It is very wordy. Again, that's kind of par for the course for Tom King. I feel like even Mr. Miracle had a lot of thought boxes. I think that's kind of just his style. Having said that, I skipped over the monologue boxes because I don't believe in that whole noir style over narrating and like thought. I just don't read those. I read dialogue and let the action speak for itself, but I don't bother with any of that hyper navel gazy auto dialogue. I just
Probably
don't
a
bother
good
with any of that.
choice.
I don't like that. I love the art. Again, going back to that 60s aesthetic, something Patrick you were hinting at, but here's a good panel to showcase. Like you can see that there's sort of the sunlight through the windows comes in at a weird angle that highlights
and then
colors in a certain
the
way.
lamp near Lex.
And again, that's the very sort of almost Hitchcockian setup with weird angles and layering of color palettes around. So I loved the art. It almost felt like I know this isn't from the 60s, but you know the Venture Brothers intro where it's like bum 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 and
Yeah.
and like as the music goes bum 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 bum, like visual blocks kind of slide into the screen and that kind of. I know the comic is a still medium, but this felt sort of like that, like the 60s kind of graphic thriller graphic, that kind of thing exuded throughout the art, and I loved it. I liked his character designs. Again, stylized with a very specific aesthetic vibe, but still pretty detailed. I thought Smallwood just did a great overall job, and the colorists as well. I don't.
Well, I think Smallwood. I think did do the colors, didn't he?
Oh, did Smallwood do all of it?
I think he just does the art. Period.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Period.
Because I didn't. I went out of my way to look for the colorist because of how much color work was done, and I couldn't find anyone.
Okay, maybe it was just Smallwood.
I think it's just the type of art this is, and the way it's colored. It seems that it's just
because he probably, honestly, looking at it, this might be fully digital.
Yeah, it's for sure. But but also, I mean, but the way the light is layered in and stuff, like there's choices made there that I don't think like. If this was my art style, I wouldn't allow someone else to make those choices for me. I'd want to make them.
Right.
You know
like
what I mean?
even
So like, or I'd have to trust that person implicitly.
Like the hair and stuff is all color. Like there's no line work. It's like all like
it's straight color. Yeah, I mean this.
Yeah,
looks,
I think he was at least
it was digital. Yeah,
I think he was at least the primary guy who did the colors, if not the guy who did.
Yeah, someone might have come through and like finished stuff, maybe, but. I don't.
Right. But so I thought the art was great. I like Tom King's style with this kind of book where, you brought up Ice, that I think also is a great character. And Tom King does this a lot. It's that sort of, we mentioned this, I think, on this podcast a lot in the context of Zatanna and Identity Crisis. But this idea of a hero who seems like they have infinite power but don't use it, and maybe there's a psychological block or reason they don't. And Ice really fits into that mold of taking this C-rate obscure hero from Justice League International in the 70s or whatever that maybe was just offhand written as, oh, she has ice powers, but really giving her a way more agency and way more power and a psychological origin that explains why maybe she didn't become ruler of the earth instead of just tagging along with Booster Gold and Guy Gardner and all that stuff. And also her journey of, I mean, spoilers, but she kind of breaks out of that by the end of it.
Oh,
so,
man,
that's a Tom. But I just love that is a Tom King thing to do. Is like you take an obscure character in a Black Label book, you really dig deep into what makes them tick, what are their limitations, and all of that, and out of that has them blossom into something more. And Ice is just the epitome of that. Another Tom King note: a lot of these limited runs he does are really focused around death and dealing with death. Mr. Miracle, clearly, I mean, so that's suicide and depression and dealing with that. Strange Adventures in its own way is about dealing with grief and legend and your own place in the world and what that would be when you die, all that stuff. And this is just another, in a sense that almost feels a little trite and like already done because Tom King hits this theme a lot. But we're back to this kind of idea of how do you grip with mortality when you're a superhero? How do you deal with mortality? When you're a normal man surrounded by superheroes, how do you deal with mortality? It's just it's a common Tom King trope but I do like it. I do generally just kind of like reading that. But
I think the
with
only
this
added
book, we're
layer
back
I would
to
say
that.
that little bit, Al, is it's not just about well, I mean, part of that is the connection to the other people around you. You know, like whether it's Mr. Miracle's son or child, you know, or daughter. What was it in that book? Child, anyway.
Daughter, yeah.
And then same with Strange Adventures, like
Also daughter.
No, Strange Adventures, yeah. No,
Strange
Adventures
was daughter.
daughter.
Yeah. Mr. Miracle was the son.
Mr. Miracle was the son.
Yeah.
Strange Adventures was the daughter, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was conflicted.
Well, first of all, Mr. Miracle's child was an infant. We don't know how they'll identify.
But also it was
Strange Adventures
Barda. It was also Barda, though, not just the infant child or the child. It was just, but Strange Adventures was also his wife and his daughter, you know, that kind of thing. Like there are connections to him while all that was going on, kind of thing. I loved it. I guess I would say. Yeah, I can't talk enough about the art. I get where Patty's coming from with like it's maybe almost overwhelming in sense of like it's almost too artistically drawn. But I loved every single panel of it, and I couldn't get enough of it. And my favorite part was the angular light and how it was layered throughout, like every panel, like literally almost every panel. But on top of that, there was a weird way he would sketchily draw and use crazy colors for any scenes that were like flashbacks or memories. I really liked that kind of layered in because it was very clear when it was somebody like thinking about what was happening. Right away in the first bit, you get like, so every issue of this deals with one day before he dies. He has 12 days to live, and every single issue is one of those days, basically. And then, but in the very first issue, you get a quick like day 12, day 11, and it counts down to 1. And it kind of goes, and now we're at day 1 kind of thing. But those countdowns to day 1 are like memories, you know, or future memories, I guess. I don't know. But like, I really loved how they looked and it was like a little clue. It was like a little bit of like what was going to happen in each issue, way out of context. So there's nothing to really figure out. But it was so entertaining as you like read the next issue to go back and look at day 2 and be like, oh, okay, that's where that panel fit in. And then like, you know, you're on issue 6 and you flip back to that page and go, oh, okay, that's where that panel fits in. Okay, yeah, that one's about fire or whatever, you know, kind of thing. That was really fun. The way he used the light with the, I guess, the angular, it's not like rectangles per se. Sometimes they had different shapes or like, you know, pentagons or whatever. With the lights of like the Green Lantern rings was always really interesting and cool. Like there was a lot of really interesting ways that they used that. It wasn't just like the light in the room per se. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I can't say enough about the art, so I'll say it throughout as we flip through through pages.
Yeah, and as usual, we'll highlight cool panels.
But yeah, I couldn't get enough of the art. I was blown away by it, and I loved every second of it. And
but so to
you guys kind of already hit all those notes.
Yeah, and just to recap, Joe and myself enjoyed this comic. Patrick hates George Clooney.
Patrick did not. So as we
Patrick
continue,
hates George Clooney. Yeah.
As we continue. By the way, Danny Ocean,
like this.
Best George Clooney.
Like, I don't know what I don't even. It made me question. I'm like, do I not like George Clooney? And I'm like, maybe I don't because I feel like he really got too involved with politics and didn't really know what he was doing. And maybe he just.
I don't like
George.
Okay, I know nobody asked
George.
me.
Go back to being Danny Ocean.
I don't like him or Brad Pitt. I don't like these like old cool Hollywood dudes who they just see. I don't like anything about them. And they're all like rich in Lake Como.
Oceans 11, 12, and 13 are some of the best movies ever.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of any of these people. Okay, but let's talk about this comic. Issue 1.
All right, so issue 1, we kind of touched on it, but he impersonates Lex. He kind of does say something along the lines of, normally I wouldn't take a job from a man like Lex Luthor. Like, but, you know, work is thin, so I'm going to take this job with Lex Luthor. Being like his human target, you know, like standing in for Lex because Lex has like an assassination attempt happening on him. And we already touched on this, but like what he doesn't realize is that he gets poisoned before he goes out on stage to impersonate Lex, because there was 2 attempts on Lex's life, but he only knew about the 1. So when he's out on stage, he foils this assassination attempt by like an employee that Lex even reveals, like, yeah, I kind of nudged that in the direction because I wanted to find out who it was or whatever. Like, so like Lex is doing Lex shit. So he's always kind of like a looming threat or not a threat, but like a looming suspect in terms of like maybe Lex poisoned himself to see, you know, like, or maybe Lex opened the door to let the poison in, and that's how, you know, Christopher Chance got poisoned. But at the end of the day, he stops the assassination attempt and beats this guy up.
Yeah, but
when he gets shot, he vomits, and that's why the poison doesn't kill him right away, essentially. So,
yeah,
like,
well, one quick thing I did want to say.
I thought that was like an interesting little dumb bit of like, he gets poisoned and then he gets shot in the chest and he throws up, and that's why he doesn't die right away and he has 12 days to live. I thought that was like a weird little dumb beat in there that I enjoyed. Anyway,
yeah, before we go back to the day one, I did want to call out one thing I didn't notice when I first read it. As he's going to bed on day 12, he writes, "I love you too" on the note.
He does.
Comes back in the very last episode. That comes back. I didn't notice that they already did it in episode 1, but that's a neat little touch. Audience,
I did like that. So obviously, there's something going on. Like right away, you know, like he writes the last thing he writes on a notepad. You know, he opens the drawer. It's a Bible and a notepad and a pen, and he writes a little note. And then as he's dead, it pans up and you see it just says, "I love you too." So clearly, like, you're like, okay, well, something's going to happen over the course of these 12 days or whatever. Really good. Really good setup.
My only note on issue 1 is that Christopher kind of fucks up when he's impersonating Lex just by the assistant brings him the cup of coffee while he's in Lex costume. And he says, "Thank you." And Lex's assistant gets so flustered. She's like, "Oh, really? That's like very kind, Mr. Luthor. I don't remember you saying this is such an honor. I'm very much appreciated." She goes, "I'm so sorry. I'm talking way too much." And then he like realizes
he gets into character.
Yeah, he goes into character as Lex and goes, "Then stop."
I did the only comment.
I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I'm so excited that you said thank you for the coffee, and I'm just like, then stop. It's so good.
The one comment I had is I think Christopher looks great as Lex. I think he looks really good.
Yeah, very handsome.
He's good at he's a master of disguise.
Man, he looks great. He looks great right there. Bald man.
I mean, in fairness, they're not drawn very differently, but I think like there's a subtlety to the nose there that I think is Lex's nose. It's not just a bald cap, is what I'm saying. You can even see it later.
Motivation exactly about killing Lex?
Lex is a piece of shit. He's the
disgruntled employee.
He said the security guard who let this guy in, who's now going to do live, so the guy who let the bomber in. I looked into it. He's got a brother with a sick kid. Kid just got approved for a new and expensive treatment, all thanks to Lex Insure. So it sounded like Lex's insurance company helped.
Lex was withholding care to this guy's child so he could get that security guard. Lex literally held
but that's a security guard.
Yeah, for the security guard, knowing that security guard would be in a desperate situation to let the assassin in. And then because he's trying to catch the assassin.
He wanted to draw him out.
So Lex is trying to draw him out, and he literally withholds medical care from this child, knowing this security guard will be in like a desperate situation.
How the fuck did you get to that conclusion based off of like...
Look, Lex is playing 4D Tetris.
Because Lex is, he knows Tetris. He knows Tetris more than one side.
I read this page like 7 times because I was like, I don't understand. Right. So I don't know how y'all figured that out.
Well, Lex is holding care back from this child, which makes the security guard be in a desperate situation in order to let the assassin in. But they still prosecute the father, security guard, for letting the guy in. But then after all of that, Lex gives medical care to the child for free or whatever. So like Lex kind of like fucked this kid over for a minute to like draw out the assassin or to allow entrance for the assassin, and then takes
context clues that y'all picked up.
One note about this that I really liked is when the shooter is on stage doing his manifesto or whatever against Lex.
Yeah,
I like that his argument is basically like, do you guys realize Superman is trying to get this guy? He's evil. Like that. He just says like, why do you think every superhero on Earth is after Lex Luthor? He's evil. And I just kind of thought that's funny because it's true. Like, he's just an evil guy.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
But, like, the shooter's motivation is just, like, this guy is a supervillain.
I think part of that is also to highlight like that Christopher Chance would normally not have protected this kind of person. Like normally this isn't the kind of job he takes, and like because he did, it like fucked him over kind of thing. And I think
but I think it's also
to
Tom
give
King,
him like a righteous reason for killing Lex, which we all know Lex is a piece of shit. But like it was just like an added layer to it.
Yeah, but I think it's mainly Tom King doing kind of like a meta joke of like, don't all these people see that Superman is desperately trying to defeat Lex Luthor? Doesn't that clue you in that maybe he's evil?
Yeah, maybe he's a bad guy.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
I love that the headline says Luthor foils assassination plot. All right, I don't want to like this isn't too into the weeds, but this is just a subtle art note. But I really love how in random issues, and that'll come up later, but like they'll be like the Human Target issue number 5, blah blah, like this is the writer, this is the artist, you know, that kind of thing. But sometimes it's just like on a receipt from Chinese takeout, or it's like
it's always in the
and I'm
scene.
just like I love not always, most of the not every single time, but most of the time it's like embedded into the story, and I really love that. Anyway,
also that article written by Clark Kent, up and coming journalist at the
journalist. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Yeah,
he's got some good bylines. He's got some good bylines under him.
Good bylines.
The poison kind of takes him over while he's in Lex's office, and then he's like, he basically leaves, but he doesn't even remember leaving, and he's just driving in his car, and then the poison hits him harder while he's driving his car, and he kind of spins out and crashes. And that's when we get to the part where he's seeing Dr. Midnight as a doctor, and kind of getting like, hey, you got 12 days to live, like, you know, you're gonna die. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like I can give you some pills and help you along the way, ease the pain a little bit, kind of thing.
I do one comment I want to make, and no, I don't want to cast aspersions on Dr. Midnight as a medical professional.
Yeah.
12 days is a very specific prognosis to give. Like in most cases, you know, cancer, it's like 6 to 8 months, and they might even live to, you know, to say 12 days period is a real degree of certainty that like most medical professionals would not.
I think the key being there is that he's a superhero doctor.
I'm just saying,
he knows better.
I understand that, and I'm not trying to say he's not a good doctor. It's a very specific timetable as a medical professional to give. And he was right. And look, plot twist, he's right. In 12 days to do
exactly. He's right. In 12 days he dies. Well, I mean, we already know that because like we saw day 12, the first page of the book is day 12 and he dies.
Well, but it's not, sometimes that's a bait and switch. In this case, he does actually die. But
that's true. I do love how he goes back to talk to Lex, and Lex has this huge he talks to him for like a good 5 minutes, and he's like, I didn't poison you, by the way. And anyway, and Lex just goes on this giant, like, let me talk to you for a long, long time. And he's like, that's all cool and everything, but I was just wondering what happened to my car when I crashed. I guess it wasn't there. That's all. He's like, I know you didn't poison me. Anyway, like, I just really like a long conversation just to get to him being like, yeah, I was just wondering what happened to my car. I don't really care about any of that. And then the next scene is just like him back at the motel, and the front bumper of his car is a little dented in when we see him again.
Yep. All right, shall we go? Any other points, or do you want to just go right to issue?
Well, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit. But later issue, Dr. Midnight invites Mr. Chance to go to church with him, and I thought that was interesting.
This issue he does.
This issue he does.
I think it's already
he does in this issue.
When he gives the prognosis.
He says it, and he doesn't. He goes, Christopher, I'm sorry. I would be glad if you came to church with me. And he goes, see you around, Doc, unless I don't. Thanks for the pills. And that's it. And then in the later issue, when he sees him again, he's like, I know I said this before, but like maybe you could come to church with me if you're about to die. And then he just laughs. Like he
quit trying to convert me, man. What's going on? Like what?
I don't care.
Also,
remember the first time you said that? I walked out.
Yeah. How can you live in this world with aliens and gods and stuff and still go to church?
He's a superhero. Dr. Midnight is also a superhero.
Well, but I think, okay, first off, y'all are right. Also, I think Chance's responses are pretty good responses to that kind of proposition. Yeah. But I do think the point of bringing up the Gideon's Bible every time he's at the motel and Dr. Midnight's repeated pleas to look into religion, I think is to key in us as an audience into the mortality aspect, and how does the human target deal with the fact that this is a bullet he can't dodge? And some people do turn to religion. Chance does not.
Yeah.
But I think Tom King is just consciously showing us this temptation of
there's another path to go down.
Turning to this other
he
higher
questions
power
his path of like finding out who his killer is in the last days that he has multiple times throughout the book. Like he's like, am I doing the right thing? Do I care? Why do I care? And he's like, never mind, this is all I am. Like I don't have that like, so another thing that Dr. Midnight says is like, hey, you have 12 days to live. Like, find those people that you love and like the people that are close to you and like maybe your kids or I don't know you, kind of thing. He's kind of like says it in the way of like, I don't know who you're close to, but like maybe go help them through this time because you're going to die. And maybe they would be more eased with your passing if you would like talk to them before you passed away instead of going on this revenge quest kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, I don't have any of those people. But he doesn't say that right away. He just goes, uh-huh. And then like he's like, no, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah, he does come up with a plan to find someone and make them care for him so that he can then die and leave them. So he does kind of build himself. Definitely his plan. Definitely, it's part of the Chance dating method. Find someone, make them love you, then die on them, and that way you live on in their memories.
The main takeaway from issue 1, aside from all the things we've said, is that the poison that he has in his body, since he survived because he threw up when he got shot, they have a sample of the poison, and Dr. Midnight like figured out that the poison came from somebody in the Justice League International team. So like those are his list of suspects, so to speak. And we're given this huge panel of the whole team. And
boy, that looks like a 2-page spread.
It does. It is a 2-page spread.
Which should have been the name of this comic.
Not quite a
3-page spread.
3-page spread. Right.
Honestly, Al, sometimes I wonder if that should have been the name for this podcast.
if only one of us had really stressed that would be a better name for this podcast.
I think it's a horrible name. Still, it's the worst name.
Did y'all notice Mr. Miracle's on this thing? An old Tom King staple.
Mr. Miracle. Also, Black Canary's on there, and then also Captain Adam's on there, and we never see any of them. Yeah. Also, Batman.
Although, Tom King.
We'll get to that issue.
Is Jenny Sparks Black Label? Tom King's done some Captain Adam stuff recently. It was kind of interesting. Anyways, I digress.
All right. Book 2. The Human Tech. So he's got an office above a pizza parlor?
Above a pizzeria, yeah.
But
it's kind of like his Alfred. It's not like a real pizzeria because the guy's not Italian, and it's all a cover story. I don't really understand it very well.
What got. So I know this is like we can get to this later, but what really threw me off at the end is in the last issue after Chance dies, Ice is talking to the Italian guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I should have faked my accent better. And that threw me. I was like, oh, is that Chance?
No, he said she speaks in Italian. And he goes, you know what? I should have learned Italian. It would have made it.
Yeah.
But
that threw me off as like, wait a minute. Was Chance alive and pretending? But it turns out it's just another guy pretending to be Italian.
Yeah, no, it's just.
Can I talk about like, why is that? Can I talk about. So if this. One comment I want to make about this man pretending to be Italian. If that man had been pretending to be.
You mean Luigi?
Yeah. If that. I mean. We could edit this out if it's too incendiary. But if that man had been pretending to be, I don't know, Asian or black, it would be a problem. But pretending to be Italian is fine. And as an Italian person, I just want to ask that question. Why is that fine? Why is that fine?
How would he have pretended to be black or Asian?
There you go. Because it's
what extra steps not would he have had to take?
Blackface?
I'm just saying, why is it okay to pretend to be Italian? I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
I've answered you twice because it's an ethnicity and not a race.
You Italians have had it too easy for too long.
Come on.
It's true. We've been skating along on Easy Street.
Yeah, same with us Irish boys.
Far too long. But the Italians had it easier than the Irish.
Anyway, Luigi's restaurant is on
New York City.
Infantino Avenue. So we're introduced to Ice in this issue.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I know you already mentioned this, Joe, but just to put a pin on it, Infantino Avenue, named after Infantino, who created the Christopher Chance Human Target.
Yeah.
Just wanted to.
Carmine that's what I said.
Well, just in
Carmine
case
Infantino.
the audience isn't, just want to make sure, Okay, so going back to this idea, I don't know if this was in the original The Human Target comic to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's the very noir thing of like a tiny investigator's office on top of another business in sort of an unassuming location that a beautiful rich heiress has to walk into looking unsure. That's just standard noir.
Yeah. So
iconography.
let me ask you guys something.
So.
Did you know who the killer was the entire time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's obvious, right? It's obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's obvious to him as well. Like
I think he waffles.
Calls...
I think at some points he waffles though.
I think he's initially suspect of her, and then holds her off to the side, and he literally says, "I kept her close because I wasn't sure." In later issues, but I don't know. I don't think he knows right away. He's not just going through the motions of eliminating the rest of the Justice League International.
But it's because she shows up because she gets a call from Dr. Midnight, right? To say,
which was actually,
which turns out to actually be Christopher. And so I think the fact that he
brought her in purposefully in the beginning.
Yeah. I think he knew, and I think he was just checking off the boxes to confirm it throughout these 12 issues.
And obviously the specifics of this don't super matter. I think he tried calling basically everybody. She showed up at his office, which tipped him off to this is probably the villain. But then I do think as they spent time together and investigated other people, I think maybe he waffled on it a little bit. But then we'll hit to this on I think it's issue 10. He really zeroes in on, okay, she definitely.
Yeah, it's before. Yeah, it's before. Yeah, it's before. I think he knows.
Even at one point when he's going after Fire, I feel like he's doing that to bait Ice to.
I think he is sort of. I mean, one thing I'll say as me personally reading it, the one thing I wasn't sure of is if it was Ice as an individual or if Fire and Ice were running some sort of game.
Yeah.
There's some sort of 2-woman game on it, but it turned out that it was just Ice. Yeah.
I thought there was a good chance it was Fire, just because I do know a lot more about Fire than Ice, and she's in Checkmate and all this other stuff, and she's.
I thought there was a good chance. Yeah, when it started, I was like, it's either Ice or it's Fire, and Ice is protecting Fire. That's what I thought. Not kind of thing. But I do love the retelling of her origin, and that she's not just some magical being, and she murdered her father or abusive uncle or whatever the fuck happened. But that was fucked up. That was it was like a twisted Elsa tale. But that was really cool. I liked that. They have an interesting chemistry right away, which I really enjoyed. And obviously the book the book kind of goes into that, but I like it.
I don't know. One criticism I had is I don't get their chemistry. I mean,
really?
I just don't get. First of all, they don't explain why can he handle her cold. They don't really explain why he can handle her cold.
I think because he's sick, and I think his symptoms of the sickness are.
But I think it goes beyond that. I think it's like a James Bond kind of thing, Patty. It's like I'm so resilient to pain and whatever that it just.
Because he is the human target, and he's trained to take death shots.
Yeah, he's just trained to be around uncomfortable situations nonstop. That's what he does.
But I just.
So she finds him comforting in the sense of he's not repelled by my colds, just me being in the room.
Well, I think because he's a handsome, 48-year-old man. I mean, he looks good. I get that. I get it. He looks good as a summer.
Also, I feel like I think with Ice, she is known as being the sweet and nice member of the Justice League.
Because she's so nice. She's so sweet. She's so sweet.
She's trying to break out of that. That's not who she really is. That's a construct she created after she murdered her family by accident or whatever to compensate probably. And I think he kind of sees her for what she is from the very beginning.
Right. And I think she appreciates that.
Yeah. Subconsciously, I think she kind of, I kind of bought their chemistry, to be honest with you. And I'm not a huge
And he also says things there's comments throughout kind of oh, you're comfortable around me. And he's like, yeah, because you're not. This is because I can see who you really are, kind of thing. And he doesn't literally say that, but that's the subtext of what the conversation.
Well, and I do think to our earlier point, most people see her as Sweet Ice, right? Like we
Mhm.
mentioned, but he goes at her thinking this is probably the person who killed me. So
Yeah.
So I think maybe she does perceive that he views her as she really is, and not as Sweet
Mhm.
Ice
As the
from the
person
first
capable of
event.
murder, but also like that more aggressive like side of her.
I did love this panel of Ice when I don't know if y'all
That
can see it.
fantastic panel.
Yeah, so good. I feel like it really captured the dark side of her. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because they're just having this like
And when I think it's
banter
because
back
he,
and
he
forth,
says it's
and then he
basically
goes,
when he
"What's ice
threatens
without
fire? Yeah,
fire?" And he puts the
fire,
glass down, and
yeah.
she just goes,
exactly.
you know, like and
You don't-
stares at him, and you're just like, "God damn."
Fire is
If
one
you're
person
not
who
if you're not
then vice
guilty, I know
versa.
who is. That's again what I'm saying. Like it was like right away. I'm like, well, it's ice, or maybe fire, but probably ice. So the whole rest of the book, although it is fun, it was a little telegraphed. Not a lot, just a little telegraphed. And also, you're in this kind of book. You're always like, well, there could always be. There's always going to be
Yeah,
like a
it's-
10th issue, like flip and fuck with me kind of thing.
Yeah,
Tom
and
King
one.
is-
Oh, go ahead, Pat.
Well, I was just gonna say he's a pretty clever writer. So like I gave him credit for the fact that you know he could be setting us up for a twist. Like, but then the twist was on top of a twist. You know what I mean? And it turned out to be Ice. the
Yeah,
entire time.
and one
So
character
go ahead.
note.
Go ahead. Al.
Well, I just wanted to make one character note on Christopher that I really liked is because there's a version of this comic where he is single-mindedly hunting down for his killer. And that's, 24 hours a day, 11 days. Who did you do this? Swear to me. Just he is hunting down whoever did this and grilling people. But the Christopher we get actually spends half his days just swimming out into forever, enjoying his time, getting to know Ice, giving into love, and like experiencing life for what it has to offer, as well as still trying to find his killer. That's still the
I think that part is genuine, I guess is what I was trying to say. Like their chemistry, that's why I was like I love their chemistry because like that part is genuine. I think both of them met under circumstances of like one Ice is trying to like throw him off the trail. And he also brought her in under circumstances that he made to like get close to her to see if she was the killer. But I think they genuinely like hit it off, and neither one of them was sort of expecting that. And that as the issues go on, I think as they grow closer together, it is genuine. Like when they're getting close together.
Yeah,
like,
but I meant that less specific,
which
with
complicates
the Ice romance
for her and him, I guess.
Yeah, but I meant that less specific to the Ice romance, but more generally, he's 60-40, 60% looking for the killer, 40% I'm going to have the best time of my life for the last 12 days.
Yeah, sure.
And I appreciated that as
I mean,
the
that
character.
initial. So when they swim out into the ocean initially, and they're flirting this entire time essentially, but like the one of the things that hilarious about this character, because I identify with it so much, is how much he drinks alcohol. But he's drinking the entire
like
time.
Did you guys ever watch Archer? He's basically Archer.
You're right.
There's a lot of Archer in this. Also,
looks like
artistically, there's a lot of Archer in this, the way it's drawn. But the fact that he's drinking nonstop, it's like one, it's because he always probably did, at least to an extent. But he's doing it more now because he's poisoned and it hurts. So he's like staying drunk to kind of like keep the pain away. But they swim out and he doesn't have his fucking flask. So he's like, he starts coughing because like the poison's hurting him badly for whatever reason. And she breathes like cold air. She kisses him, but also breathes cold air into his body. And that like kind of like, it's like putting an ice pack on a headache. Like it made him feel better for a brief time. But there's like an instant connection there. Yeah, I feel like it would be amazing.
Feels so good.
Breathe cold air into my lungs. Love it. Keep that up.
Okay,
but there's a whole thing at the end, like where they're like kind of like she's like, "Do you want to come in?" And he's like, "No, I shouldn't." And like his internal monologue is like, the parts that Al didn't read is like, I should probably go home right now, kind of thing,
Yeah, and honestly, informing everything I've said, maybe having read the inner dialogue would explain the romance a little better for me, but I didn't do that. So
it's so weird that you're evaluating and talking about a comic you didn't read all of.
Yeah, look, I believe in actions.
The Human Target's on the newspaper, and then the Jack Daniels bottle says Chapter 2, We Cry.
That is clever.
Which I love. Like, it's just little bits like that. It's not even on the same thing. It's just, but that's, again, it's not every time, but it's a lot of them.
Yeah, but and even the just the straight up text here, it looks very much like, again, 60s movie credits. You know, that kind of font.
Yeah. The cursive font above the name.
Writer
Yeah.
Tom King, artist Greg Smallwood. All right, let's go to book 3. Let's move this along because I love this issue because I love Booster Gold.
Yeah, Booster and Blue Beetle are both great in this.
They're always such a breath of fresh air, and
also Skeets and Booster's dynamic.
Skeets is so good.
Also,
their back and forth is
real quick. Art note: every book starts with one of these pages, and it's counting down. It's a calendar, and it's counting down the pages. But throughout, things that happen in the book are reflected on the calendar, like, which hasn't happened yet, but in this issue, Guy Gardner punches him in the face and beats the crap out of him, and blood splatters onto the calendar. So this is the first issue where there's blood splatter on there. But on this issue, it's 1, 2, 3 are crossed out. The blood splatter is bright red. As issues go on, the blood literally fades to brown and other stuff happens. It's so good, dude. It's just one page, and I'm just like, that's amazing. I just love it.
Yeah, and then...
It's dumb, but I love it.
And then some of the days feature tranquilizer darts.
Yeah, tranquilizer dart pops up there later. Yeah.
All right, but so he wakes up with Guy Gardner
sitting on the end of his bed like a super normal guy.
Well, I do like how Guy in this is very much, he almost seems like a dumb 50s biker gang dude who's just kind of like, I heard you were with my girl.
This is honestly as much as they've tried to make Guy Gardner cool recently, let alone the new Superman movie. But like,
this is going back to the origins of the character.
This is so Justice League International Guy Gardner. It's perfect. Like, the amount of times he gets punched in the face, all homages to the time that Batman punched him in the face when he's annoyed by him. Like, so good. Loved every Guy Gardner bit. Was like, yeah, he sucks, and this is why
he really.
Thank you for reviving how much I hated Guy Gardner. How dare you for making me
this
like
is the
Guy
real
Gardner
return
recently.
to form of what Guy Gardner was meant to be.
And also, every time he talks to Ice, I want to punch him in the face. He's just like,
oh, he's a very
girl,
toxic,
baby.
Boyfriend.
You know, like, and you're just like, fuck
boyfriend.
off, you piece of shit. You're so horrible. I heard you were hanging around with my girl. What's your problem, man? And he goes, she's not your girl, Guy. And this isn't your room. Now get out. And he goes, hey, Ring, what space sector is this room in? He goes, this room is located in space sector 2814. And he goes, and what space sector do I get to be in charge of? And he goes, you are the Green Lantern of space sector 2814. He goes, huh, what do you know? I guess it's my room after all. What a fucking douchebag.
He is the definition of a douche.
Damn it.
Yeah. Also, the minute Hal Jordan shows up,
he's not
so in charge of sector 2814 anymore. Suddenly, he's not. Yeah, I mean, he's such a douche. I do like how Chance shakes him when they're in the cars. And Chance just times the light so that a truck rams into guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good little... Because
on that note, because he knows the Ring's going to take care of him kind of thing. Because that's a whole bit that we'll get back to later. But there's a bit here where, like, he goes, there's a few ways to handle this. I choose the fastest one. And he shoots a gun at Guy because he knows it's just... He's like, I don't want to fucking hear this guy talk anymore. I'm already annoyed. And he knows he's not going to die. He just shoots a bullet at his brain. Because he knows the Ring's going to block it. And then that'll piss Guy off. And it'll, like, speed up the conversation so they can get to the part where Guy punches him in the face. Because he's like, there's no way out of this conversation. It's going to end with Guy trying to beat me up. So why don't we just get to the part where he beats me up? And then I weirdly loved that little bit of the character that you see.
Well, but that's something, that's a character note of Christopher's that we see throughout this run. And it's one that I really like. And maybe it speaks to Patrick, maybe why you read it as sort of like a George Clooney, cocksure, braggadocious thing. But I do like how he's just completely unbothered by these superpowered gods around him. Like, he's not afraid of a Green Lantern ring. He's not afraid of fire's fire, ice's ice. Like, he is just used to living among super gods.
It's not. And so there's an added level is that he knows he's going to die. So he's like, I care even less now. Like, he was already comfortable living in that world and being the person he was. But now you have this added level of like, I'm going to die in 12 days. I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, now it's all gone. Like, if I gave a shit at all, it's gone. You know, like, kind of thing. So he's just like, whatever, just beat me up so I can move on with my life.
Just to piggyback off that, though, it is funny though because he still is terrified of Batman, though.
Oh yeah.
He is. Well, that's
Can't wait to get Batman issues
that's the
next.
whole interesting
That's
issue.
next-
But
that's
yeah,
next,
he
yeah.
is horrified of Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Batman is not a superpowered god, so maybe that's why.
Yeah,
Maybe
ironically enough.
Yeah. But
But
let's talk
But
about
Booster. So
'cause
they go to
I
Booster.
love-
They go to Booster because they figure out that Booster's using water to make his bagels at his new bagel shop.
well, one of
And
the
that
elements,
water was,
obviously, in poison is water, but it's the specific
so-
water that.
But it's
Yeah,
the
specific
water that was
water.
used. Yeah.
Not really
Oh,
important.
so I don't know.
That's
Did
kind
we
of-
mention this? But the Dr. Midnight thing was that the Justice League International all went to Dimension X at a certain point and were exposed to the irradiated material that is what
with
poisoned.
Kerrang?
That is what poisoned Chance. I don't know if we ever explicitly said that, but that's why he's keyed in on Justice League International.
Yeah, there's a certain. So they all went to a certain weird dimension. They all came back with this low level, mildly toxic, I guess, radiation, but they're all fine. I guess whatever. Maybe it's not toxic, I don't know, but a low level radiation that can be detected. So the point is that the poison had that amount, that trace elements of that radiation, and the only people that have ever been exposed to that is this team of superheroes.
So Booster's opening a bagel shop, and they have the ribbon cutting ceremony, and Skeets is like, "Well, you should use scissors." And he's like, "No, I'm just gonna use my blaster." So he shoots
And
the
he
ribbon
breaks
and
the
it blows
window.
up. He breaks the glass. But the funny part is, Booster goes, "Meh, same thing would have happened if I'd used the scissors." And Skeets goes, "Sad but true."
Yeah.
It's like, how would that have happened with the scissors?
Because it's Booster. That's just
Also, his two employees holding the ribbon are like, "Fucking god damn it! You could have just cut the ribbon with scissors."
Well, I just love Skeets because Booster's like, look, our big selling point is we pre-toast our bagels, and Skeets is like, Booster, that is not real.
That's not a thing. That isn't a thing.
And then Booster's like, no, trust me, it's real. And Skeets just goes, kill me.
Kill me.
Because it's not a thing
He's
of Booster's
great.
Bagels, that's for sure. Kill me.
But
It was-
a quick Booster gold note, because maybe for listeners who aren't super familiar with the character, he is a quote-unquote hero, but he's really just a rich dude from the future who comes to our time to try to be a hero because he thinks it would be easier to be a hero like with dummies from the past.
Yeah.
And he's kind of this super well-meaning ne'er-do-well who kind of means well and saves people mostly.
Also, his
but
superpowers
also,
is just all technology from the
it's all
future.
tech, right?
Yeah.
But he also
He has the
breaks
Legion
things
ring,
and-
but that's also
yeah.
technology, I guess.
But one of my favorite Justice League International episodes was the one kind of focused on him, because I do like that character of someone who's a deeply normal and flawed person, but who just really genuinely tries to do the best he can. And a lot of times he kind of inoffensively breaks things or doesn't quite get things right. But I just kind of, as a deeply flawed human being, I appreciate that character of somebody who's just doing their damnedest and, but is deeply flawed and doesn't always get, hit the home run.
Yeah.
But he's just hitting double base hits and kind of getting there most of the time. So I love Booster.
I love Booster and also Blue Beetle, just as a pair. And
they're both Ted. Also,
jumping
in
to
this
the next-
comic, the next issue, Ted is great. Also, he's great in this.
Ted in the next comic, though, he says, Booster called me about this whole thing you're working on. He was very excited. He usually is. I just felt like that was a very fun quip.
Chance goes, Booster, did you try to poison Lex Luthor 3 days ago? And he goes, Lex Luthor. No, I did not. It's so I love him trying to go did I do that? Kind of it's not there's some
because
evil
he's a
behind
dummy.
it. He
He's just a
just
dummy.
goes,
yeah, he does.
fuck, did I poison Lex?
Well, also, he's been in
Well, also,
5
he's
different
been all
centuries
over
in
the
the last
timeline.
yeah.
He goes,
Like,
yeah,
I
I
talked
can't
about- he
exactly
got
recall
the
where I
grain
was the last
from
2
ancient
days.
Greece. Yeah, he got the grain from ancient Greece.
That's my
and,
favorite
the
part.
yeast
It's the
from
best
where-
bit. It's 3 panels of Booster going I got my sesame seeds from ancient Babylon.
And there's arrows. In every one of them, there's arrows and spears thrown at him.
Poppy seeds from ancient Sumer. That was a trip. And just oh my god. And then onions from even more ancienter China. The usual stuff. And it's just for some reason, the idea that Booster was still fucking around with time travel had not occurred to me. I don't know why. That is so adorably stupid. But the idea that he's constantly going back in time just to get ingredients for his fucking bagel store is like
great.
the dumbest and greatest thing ever.
But I love how also he makes the comment of like, I had to do this because bagels are such a high risk business. And Skeets just says, we probably broke time.
Yeah.
It's like, we likely broke the
Highly
time.
likely we broke time.
So the last bit here is that Guy is caught up to them and he took apart Chance's car. And this the bit here that matters is that Ice kind of like, you can see the rage in her sort of. She's like, put it back, Guy. And he's like, come on, baby, I'm just trying to help. And he's like, Guy, put the car back to get. And she's getting angrier and it's getting colder. And like, you can see Chance kind of going like, holy shit. And he's like, he's got the most powerful weapon in the universe. Without you even thinking, it'll protect you from anything. The strength it would take to overcome that defense is almost inconceivable. Meaning like, she has that strength and she's holding back still, you know, kind of thing. And there was like a little, cold. Again, a little bit of like the future Ice in these books to like peeking out there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Another cool. Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, Pat, if you were going to say something on that note.
Oh, well, 2 points are just like they do a close up of the Legion flight ring when.
Oh, I was going to bring that up. That's such a cool note. You know, that panel that you see that it's then gone after the handshake.
It was just funny because I thought it was just like an Easter egg at first, but then it does kind of become relevant to the story. But just to Joe's point, Ice, she literally makes it so cold that the Green Lantern construct starts to crack, which is insane to me. Like
he protects himself in a little green orb, and it starts to go, you know, and you're like, holy shit.
So I loved the
next panel is just the cars back together and they're driving. like there's no like, oh. And she goes, do you want to get some dinner?
Yeah, how do we feel about Ice and the mom jeans with
love it. Love it.
We're okay with that? Okay.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
It's fine.
Kidding?
It's fine.
Well, I mean, as an older man, it's good.
Yeah, she looks super cute, and I think, you know,
Pat,
seeing her in mom jeans and then also taking on a Green Lantern so effortlessly, there's just something about that juxtaposition that is kind of
Pat, how about you stop talking about Guy's girl like that, okay?
Yeah.
She's with Guy. All right,
she's with
careful. Guy, okay?
Or he's going to show up at your motel later and threaten you, and then maybe if a fake Hal Jordan flies down and threatens him, maybe you'll get away with it.
Just kind of lowering.
I love how Guy
and then I'm going to slip in there, and I'm going to.
I love how Guy turned into such a bitch immediately the minute Hal Jordan showed up. You know, the minute he thought Hal Jordan showed up, he turned into such a little beta bitch. It was pretty great.
How?
Your ring
don't
guy,
understand.
You give it up for a while, or I take it forever. And he goes, God damn it! And he gives the ring to a total stranger. I mean, you know, they planned it obviously, but I love how 1 millisecond later, Chance punches Guy in the face and knocks him out. And then it turns out it's Luigi in a Mission Impossible mask.
It's Luigi,
a little voice changer.
You know. He was able to fly because Chance stole the Legion flight ring from Booster.
I like how he's like, can I keep the ring for a minute? And he goes, no, I got to get back to Booster. He'll miss it at some point for sure. And he goes, no, the green one. Can I have the green one? And I was like, that's hilarious.
Like, I don't give a shit.
He's like, I don't give a fuck what you do with that.
Well, he couldn't use it, right? Don't you have to have like a will of iron?
Yeah, you have to like.
I mean, Guy Gardner can use it. I don't know.
Well, I think Guy Gardner's whole deal is that
a quick
so
meta
dumb.
note.
His willpower is like ridiculously strong.
Yeah, but a meta note: how did he get picked as the Guardian of the Galaxy or whatever? Like he's kind of he's just a doofus.
I don't know Guy's origin, so I can't.
Honestly, like why would the Guardians of
he was always just
pick
there
when
I was a kid.
Asshole.
I think he was a spare. He was the backup Green Lantern. I think he was Green Lantern before John Stewart, right? I think.
I know, but like, aren't there human beings who are better people who could be a backup to?
I mean, to Joe's point, I guess it's like a balance of just like stupidity and like willpower is such a broad term for whatever powers that fucking ring. But
maybe
he's like, I guess, like an arrogance that you can just overcome anything. Like he's too stupid to understand
His
the
ego's
problems that
so
he's
huge
facing
that his willpower is strong.
are bigger
Also,
than
I
him.
guess to a degree, maybe you need some people to bring the curve down, right? Because like if everybody's
too.
amazing, then you maybe just want to level out the median.
I mean,
a little
Gnort
bit.
is also a Green Lantern, so well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he's an alcoholic if nothing else.
Yeah, poor guy.
If nothing
Gnort?
else, he's an alcoholic.
Poor guy.
Don't talk about good North.
All right, book 4, Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle. So they go to Blue Beetle because they think Booster's silent partner who helped them open the bagel store, they believe it's Blue Beetle because that's his best friend who's also a billionaire. So it makes sense that Ted would be the guy that funded it. And
so
got
this
water.
issue as a whole is phenomenal. And I love that it's just Blue Beetle being Blue Beetle and they're just like along for the ride while he keeps going and doing things. And then the whole end of it just going like, hey, sorry, we're on the West Coast and this is the let's get drunk or whatever. There was such an interesting, this is the best issue of Blue Beetle I've ever read, other than when he gets shot by Max Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best Blue Beetle ever.
This is great. Well, I love how, because basically Chance says, did you try to kill Lex Luthor? And from that prompt, Ted Cord basically speaks nonstop
for an entire issue and never stops.
And I love how he's like, well, I can see how you might think that, because why not kill Lex Luthor? He's evil. And I certainly have the means. I have the money, the technology, and the will, frankly, to do it. And he just like goes on for the whole.
Also, him
day.
just stripping nude in front of them while his costume gets stitched around him. Like, I was just like, what's happening?
But but another thing I appreciate about Ted is, again, he's a good hero. Like, he spends all of his day going out of his way to help people and be a hero. And he's Tom King writes him in an almost, this is probably not a PC thing to say, but like an almost autistically built hero, where he just seems almost on the spectrum of like, he's running his business and talking to Chance and saving people, all on these weird, like, on the spectrum
levels
wavelengths.
that doesn't make any sense. And if he didn't have a $1 billion company to feed into this insanity, he'd probably be on the street falling apart.
Yeah,
like just but like the support system that he has around him allows him to be like this crazy intelligent,
right. But
being.
All of it together as a package, I found quite endearing. And at the end of the episode where they're in like the hotel bar chatting, and I kind of fell in love. I just thought he was such a charming, endearing. He was such a hero. He was helping people at like Yosemite Park fight off bears. Mm-hmm. He was then flying. He was just a good guy. And I kind
throughout
of
all of that, there's this issue in particular paints a very good picture of this. But every time there's like a hero and he's paired up with another hero throughout the books, he never does a single thing as a superhero. They keep putting him in the category of a superhero and one of them, but he doesn't help Ice and Beetle throughout this entire issue. Every single time he's paired up with another hero, he does not help. He sits back and watches the other heroes like do their job, kind of thing, which I thought was an interesting aspect of him. But then also throughout this, he's watching Ice hold back every time. And he's oh, she's dangerous. Oh, fuck, she's dangerous. Oh, fuck. She's really holding back. She's allowing Beetle to beat 3 people up, and she only beats up 2 people. Because
he sees that she's manipulating. She's manipulating.
And not in like a necessarily like a malevolent way.
Malevolent, yeah.
No,
malevolent. We both chose malevolent.
Like
that was weird. We both said malevolent at the same time.
Because that's the implication, is that there's like a deeper. It's not
evil,
but like a deeper,
maybe
like
control the situation. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, maybe I didn't mean manipulated in a nefarious way. I didn't want to say malevolent again, so he's nefarious.
But it's
also the bank robbers they beat up. There's 2 that are frozen. One's in an alien mask and a monkey mask, which mean nothing. But the ones that are beat up by Blue Beetle that are sitting on the ground is an homage to Heat, because we got a Richard Nixon mask there, and an homage to the Dark Knight, because it's a little clown mask, and I thought that was fun.
Wait, is the Nixon mask? That's not Point Break?
Oh yeah, Point Break. Wait, Point Break?
Isn't it
Point Break. Yeah,
I think you're thinking of
movie is.
Sorry. the hints of like Ice being dangerous, more dangerous than she's letting on, kind of thing.
That issue
loved.
though, it's very much teased because they go through like 6 different emergencies, and every time Christopher's like, is this? I'm noticing a pattern here. Does this happen every time? And he doesn't tell it to the very end. He's like,
he doesn't say,
every
he held,
single fight. She just let Ted have his fun, and
the page
the very
of
first
her
thing, the bank robbery,
interlacing her
freezing.
fingers with his on the ship, I love.
Well, I mean, the whole like
this is their date night essentially. Like they're just like Ted's just in the front flying the ship and just blathering on and on and on, and like they get closer and snuggle together. And every time they get back in the ship and fly to the next emergency, they're getting a little more close. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like this is like their version of like going out on a date, essentially, while they're not getting any questions answered.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a weird dynamic because, as we mentioned, Christopher's just kind of hanging back and viewing all this. And he's viewing it with almost not a scared or like horrified expression, but sort of like a whoa, he's investigating her and thinks she might be the one who killed him. So he's just seeing her hold back and seeing the potential of how deadly and scary she can be, as she's also snuggling up to him in between these shows of power. So he's just kind of going like, whoa, okay, what am I in for? Sort of feeling as well, I think is
I like at the end when they're like, when Ted's like, hey, I own this hotel. We'll have the best rooms. I'm sorry I couldn't take you home tonight. It would just been too long of a flight. Let's just get some rest here. And immediately Chance is like, you want to get a drink, Ted? Kind of thing. And like, literally the page before that is Ice's hand sliding slowly into Chance's crotch while they're sitting on the ship. Kind of thing, like as in like, hey, let's fuck tonight. And he's like, all right, hey, I still have it. This guy hasn't answered I asked him one question at 6 a.m. He hasn't answered it. It's been all fucking day. But like, I thought it was really interesting that he was just like, I still need to talk to this fucker, kind of thing. As much as I want to go upstairs with Ice, like I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, and the other cool thing, because by this issue, it's kind of a clearer theme. And I never read Justice League International originally, so whatever. But seeing Ice interact with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle and Guy Gardner, and then eventually all these others, it's just funny how we really get this picture of just a panoply of incompetent men being dragged to success by better women, which are Fire and Ice. By the end of this issue, the image we get of Justice League International is that like Fire and Ice are competent, powerful women, and all the other men they're surrounded by are some, the spectrum is like moron to asshole. Yeah. Even Martian Manhunter they're all just doofuses. Yeah. And Ice and Fire, in contrast, seem beyond competent and powerful and strong.
Yeah.
So, and again, I didn't read the original Justice League International, so I don't know if Tom King is like.
No, I think he's definitely flipping a coin there, because like Ice and Fire were always just like, I mean, well, again, we've touched on it multiple times, but Ice is just like, oh, the sweet little girl that's just like, I've got ice powers, kind of thing, and Fire was like, yeah, kind of a hothead because it's obviously related to her powers, but like just kind of I'm the fiery temper girl, and that's kind of it. Like, there wasn't like a lot of nuance. Yeah, she's Brazilian. Yeah, but anyway, I really liked like the drunk scene at the bar was great. I love the fact that Ted is getting shit faced while Chance just I drink nonstop, fine. So I'm fine. Because no offense, but I've been there a couple of times.
This is the second time that Tom King has drawn Ted Cord wasted or done a story where, because he's in Mr. Miracle, he's wasted with Scott and Booster.
Yeah. He just can't hold his liquor.
Again, not that they're direct correlations the way they're drawn, but Ted kind of looks a little like Jude Law. Got a little bit of Jude Law from him. It's the hair, I think, mostly.
I don't know. I don't know. That's fair. I don't know.
It's Jude Law.
It's more. I don't know if I'm just in the time period, but it looks more like a Steve McQueen, light Paul Newman mixed into one, sort of.
I don't know. I'm not getting anyone. He does look very specific, though.
He does look specific. I guess that's what it gets down to. It's the guy that's in Elementary that was in Trainspotting. He looks like that guy too.
Oh, Johnny Lee Miller.
Yeah, looks a little bit like him too.
Maybe. Funny note.
Yeah.
I used to train at the same jujitsu gym as him and have done jujitsu with him.
Really?
Like years ago when I was in New York. Yeah. Little side note.
Yeah, he does
all right.
look like the guy. It's weird when you Google Johnny Lee Miller.
So
second photo that comes up of him is him doing jujitsu.
There you go.
The thing that he learns from Ted while they're drunk is that Martian Manhunter asked for money. Booster asked for money, and he said no because he wants Booster to stand on his own 2 feet. And then Martian Manhunter asked him for money, and he's like, "Well, you can't say no to John." And then that was it. And he's like, and he goes, the last thing is somehow Booster gets his money, like kind of thing. It was like, as in like the implication being that Booster asked Martian Manhunter to get the money for him, kind of thing.
Sorry, what's the implication?
The implication is if you're on a boat,
The implication.
They can't get away.
you can't say no.
You can't say no.
I'm gonna swim back to shore. I mean, that'd be crazy.
All right, issue 5.
Issue 5, my favorite issue. This is my favorite issue. I loved this.
This is your favorite issue?
Yeah, I fucking loved
I
this.
mean, don't get me wrong. This is up there, but there's 2 others that take the cake for me on this.
I enjoyed 3 and 4, but issue 5, I really.
Oh, in this 6-issue run, issue 5 is the best.
in the 12 issues.
Yeah, but in the 12 issue run, no, it's not.
No.
This
Issue 5
one,
is all
I
about
didn't-
This is
I
a
still,
phenomenal
again,
issue.
As someone who doesn't read inner dialogue boxes, I didn't like this issue a lot. I just didn't get a lot out of it.
I don't know what. Well, how do you read a comic book to be on this show with us and discuss the book, but not actually read the book?
I read the
Like
dialogue.
it invalidates
I read the
every
dialogue.
opinion you have.
I read the dialogue. Just not the
So you didn't
inner
read this
dialogue.
issue, essentially.
No, there's some dialogue.
But also, I will say the most interesting stuff happens with the dialogue because the telepath from Titan, Emra, is the most interesting.
Did you get that little? Did you get that little bit? Did you get that little bit of Legion reference? Not
little
Imra.
Saturn Girl reference, yeah. Not
Emra.
Emra.
Yep.
From Titan.
Clearly a common naming convention on that planet. Moon, I guess.
Because she was the most interesting part of this issue, I thought. I loved. So basically, this issue is about Chance. I keep calling him Chance.
Part of Christopher
Well,
Chance's
chances is right.
training.
You can call him. I mean, you should call
I'm
him.
calling
calling him
Chance.
Chance.
I'm gonna be like Summer.
I've been calling
I'm
him
gonna be like
Chance
Summer
the whole
from the
time.
OC. I'm gonna be like Summer from the OC, like where she goes like Atwood, Cohen, what was
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Melissa's
Yeah, it's
Cooper.
Chance.
You know,
Yeah.
Coop.
Chance.
Well, I've been calling him Chance the whole time, so go ahead.
But
Well,
was
go ahead.
Chance trained by Ra's al Ghul? He brings up Ra's a few times.
Yeah, he mentions it.
That's who he was trained by.
The implication is that he's been trained in many, many different ways.
I see.
With many, many different people to do many, many different things. But yeah, the impetus of this issue is that he's getting psychological / telepathic training from this telepath from Titan that is training him to like put up safeguards and guard against telepathic attacks.
Learning how to
But he
defend.
can't do it, so he's a failure at this. So by the end of the issue, she goes, since you can't fight back, since clearly you can't put up these guards, or you don't know how to safeguard against it, or you don't know how to like hide it without putting up walls, which is just a red flag for any telepath that's in your brain kind of thing. The best way to do it is to just give the other telepath everything. But by doing that, it allows you to grab shit out of the telepath's brain, kind of like a two-way street sort of thing.
I love
So
how
this issue is like her, like Martian Manhunter's memories mixing with his the entire time, and it's beautiful, and I love it.
Yep.
I just really loved yes. So it's all about, at first she's like, when I go into your brain, you've got this one memory that's all locked up. And that's basically putting a spotlight on that memory. So if a telepath goes into your brain, they're going to see that like a big beacon, and they're going to tear down those walls to get to it. And then you're going to freak out that they're coming for your big secret, that you're going to focus even more on protecting it. And that's going to leave the rest of your thoughts like abandoned and unprotected. So they're going to be able to get all of that. And then when that starts
But they're
happening,
still going to break down the wall and get that other memory.
Because what's going to happen is that once you realize they're they're pulling everything else away from you, you're going to freak out about that, and you're going to drop your guard over the big secret and try to claw back the stuff they took. And then once you do that, they're going to have access to your big secret now as well. And then at that point, they're going to have everything. And she says, I'd be able to do this as like, if he says like, how quickly can you do this? And she said, if I asked you to pass me the salt at dinner before you were able to pass it to me, I'd be able to do all that to you. And so she's like, you have to learn his big secret. We also get into like his dad. His dad was a accountant that wanted to be rich, took a loan out from the wrong person, lost all the money. The dad is murdered. The dad like begged for his life before he was killed. And Chance is very embarrassed by that, does not want to end up with that. So that's what the big secret is. So the first half of the issue, the telepath is like, you need to come to terms with this memory and treat it like any other memory. So that's not that you're not holding on to it like this. And he can't do that, like Joe said. So she's like, well, the other thing is to just release it and give. So when the telepath is going to knock, like bang the door down, you open it for them and they stumble and you throw everything at them to overwhelm them. And they get everything, but at the same time, they're so overwhelmed that you can pull information from them as well. So that was kind of like, telepaths are kind of like Jean Grey, Emma Frost, Psylocke. Like they're all like some of my favorite characters. And when they get what Tom King does really well in this issue, I think, is kind of like breaking down how does that work? Like how does that power work? How does that training work? And I thought he did a very good job with this. So that's why I was just like, I was
pacing wise and artistically, Martian Manhunter literally asks him for the salt. Yeah. And then because they're eating dinner, and throughout there will be a random panel inserted of the salt, him picking up the salt and slowly inching forward with it throughout the issue. And I loved it. Like there'd be like panels of him in ice. There'd be panels of Martian Manhunter in fire. And then there's just a panel of him holding the salt. And it's like another inch further off the table. So all of this is happening literally in that span of time. It's so good. Such a good issue. I loved it. But yeah, you do get this like deep background of his father and like what was going on. The whole, like, but you also see these like horribly intimate moments with Martian Manhunter and fire.
Yeah. And so they had like a weird sex thing where
like tryst. I don't know. Yeah.
I guess but the Martian is weak against fire, so it's like
but I think that's supposed to be the king because that
it's the turn that turns him on, Patty.
But he's also like John is like very ashamed of it at the same time. Like he keeps saying like, this is the last time. And then he's like, I need you again to do this. I need you to
burn me up a little.
She goes, don't you how much I can hurt you? And it turns to fire, but it's like their memories are mixing together. So it starts with ice, but then it turns to fire, but it's still Christopher Chance in the scene. But then later on you see like, oh, it's Martian Manhunter with fire, kind of thing. Yeah, it's such a good issue.
I fucking love this issue.
Literally the last panel of this issue is he puts the salt down.
Yeah.
Like, the entire issue is him going like moving the salt from one side of my screen.
Yeah, well, I mean the whole last page is, again, it just really zooms out and you see that they're just at a fun
they're at like a
dinner place or something, and he's
random restaurant.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Yeah, I don't have much to add on this beyond what you all said. I mean, it's just really well done. The layering of the parallel streams of Martian Manhunter's memories, Chance's memories, everything. I mean, it's well done. I enjoyed it too. It was.
I love how it starts with Chance's memories and it kind of blends with Martian Manhunter, and then it shifts to Martian Manhunter's memories like throughout the issue. It's really, really solid issue of the book.
I also
anyway, issue 6.
Twist at the end. Just the twist at the end with Emra. She's from Titan, and you find out that like the people who are training Chance are like they have her spaceship, which she like. I guess she needs to get home.
Oh yeah, she totally used him to get like the key to leave.
Yeah, she uses Chance to kill the guy to get the key back.
She's like, I couldn't train you to be a good guard against telepaths, so I used you to get the thing that I needed to get the fuck out of here. It was awesome. There was like that little tiny subtle thing.
The part. So were the people training Chance and holding her captive? Was that just the League of Shadows? That's the part I didn't quite.
I think that's the implication. Okay.
Yeah. Or not League of Shadows. Ra's al Ghul is League of Shadows, right? Or League of Assassins?
I don't know. Joe, do you know? Is it League of Shadows, League of Assassins?
League of Assassins is not
Hydra. I don't know. It's all the same.
Honestly, I
Is
think
it Cobra?
It changes like all the
It's
time.
Cobra?
Is it Cobra? It's Cobra.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think it like is the intimation is that it's Ra's al Ghul's or
Yeah.
doing it. Okay.
The death of Guy
I don't know.
Gardner, guys.
I will say when I read this the first time, I was like, "Holy shit! What the fuck is happening?"
Well, so I knew it. So when that happened, I was like, "They just killed Guy Gardner," and I was
Well,
like,
it's
"Well,
like-
it's Black Label, so like it doesn't
Black
matter
Label, right?
technically."
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
So when they first killed him, my first reaction was, okay, it's going to be fake. Great. But then, like, for the next 3 or 4 issues, he stays. I just kind of thought, like, wait a minute. Did they just kill Guy Gardner? It was like over the next 2 or 3 issues kind of settled in on me that, wait a minute, maybe they did murder this guy.
So the whole point of Black Label is that it's like outside of canon, so that you can mess with
Yeah,
all these
but still,
characters,
it's
and it doesn't
murdering.
necessarily matter. So like, I was like, "Fuck, did they actually kill Guy Gardner?" I believed it.
I
Just
believe-
because
well,
it's
the
Black
art is
Label, so I
convincing.
believed it. I mean, I think that's the whole point of Black Label. It's like, let's tell a story, and something can happen, and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, at the end of the day. Well, also, it turns out he's not dead, so it is kind of. I mean, you can still think of this as canon, I guess,
Yeah.
if you're okay with Ice being a murderer.
Yeah. So before all that, though, we do get some good shirtless views of Christopher.
Yeah, we do. He's got a George Clooney body.
He's kind of a George Clooney body.
George Clooney, I guess that's fine.
In his most ripped, which isn't a lot.
And this is where, Joe, you mentioned this, but we get the credits in the Chinese food receipt.
Oh yeah, and the
Is
Chinese
this
takeout.
issue.
The Chinese takeout box says the human target. Then the receipt says delivery, writer Tom King, artist Craig Smallwood. It's great. I love it. And then the fortune cookie strip says chapter 6. If it were a delicate strategy.
It's
fun. I mean, like, I love the little bits
Guy's
like that.
entrance
Yeah.
is fun because Chance.
The entrance
and
looks
Ice are
like a
just waking up.
jackhammer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just-
Chance
well,
goes
it's-
up to
it's
Ice's
Chance in the
house.
foreground. Chance is in the foreground, looking over his shoulder at Ice. In the window, there's a big mallet, a green mallet, about to like.
Yeah,
crack
and she
the
just goes,
window.
"Christopher?" Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it smashes.
Ice
The
goes
only-
ballistic on her.
She does a little bit. So here's the thing, though. Like, all this was staged by
I know,
them.
but
Yeah,
that's
we
what-
later
yeah.
plot twist. We find out later that he used the ring.
So
to
it's
fake
interesting,
die.
like, to see, like, Guy's little smirk, and he goes, "Yeah," and like punches at Ice and stuff. Like, you're like, you can tell in that moment, you're like, "Oh yeah, he's playing a lot." But like at the time, you're just like, "Oh wow, he's just the jackass that I always thought he was," kind of thing. And he still
Yeah.
is. Don't get me wrong, but like the fight does seem a little silly in the grand scheme of things, I guess, because like she's still holding back. Like, because you'd think Christopher Chance would have picked up on that more, maybe.
Well, it turns out he did. I mean, not on that piece specifically.
I mean, he-
but
yeah,
he was
He
like,
did.
the
But
ring
there's
would've
a
protected
few
him.
moments like Guy. He does the thing where he shoots a gun at Guy again, and because of that, he like smashes Guy with like a giant energy mace. And
well,
it, like,
one
knocks
thing I
him
wanted to
down.
bring up though is a lot of times in Green Lantern stuff, we see them do stuff like maces or hammers, and it's just kind of all in good fun. This mace hit like draws blood. It's like a
Yeah,
vial.
fucked him up. Well, so
as if a
I think
real
that's
mace hit him.
but the point is in the timing of that, like Chance getting knocked down and then getting back up is the timing of like that's when this isn't really Guy, like that's when he switches places.
Right, but I
with,
just
like,
wanted to
an energy
highlight the
construct.
kind of Black Label mainstream difference of, in this, like a Green Lantern mace is like a metal mace bashing
Right,
your shoulder and fucking you
Mhm.
up. It's kind of a more scary weapon in that sense.
So is Chance?
Oh yeah,
is
100%.
Is Chance so far ahead of the game though that when he punches Guy in the face after
No.
he's frozen to kill him, that he
I
doesn't?
think
He
he's
already
literally
knows.
killing Guy because
No,
like,
I think
in his
he
brain,
thinks he's
Guy has
killing
come
Guy.
there to like a begrudging ex-lover. Guy has come there to be a douchebag and beat them up or whatever, or
I
maybe
feel like-
hurt them.
They stress so much about how Chance knows the Green Lantern ring will protect the Green Lantern, like unconsciously, and he shoots a bullet at Guy and it blocks it again.
Mhm.
And so I feel like Chance already knew.
I
at this
don't
point.
because I think it's later when he realizes it, he stresses the idea, oh, right, the ring wouldn't let him die. I don't
So it's
think
when
at
he-
this
when the
point
whole-
in time he knew it.
Okay, so issue 8 or the Batman issue is when he kind of figures it out.
Yeah, I think that's more when thinking back,
Yeah.
he thinks and goes, "Oh, right, the ring wouldn't let him die. Of course he's alive."
That
But
is
at
funny.
this moment, I
the
don't
reason he
think he's
shoots
certain.
Guy again at this point is to provide a distraction for Guy. So I don't think he thinks anything at the time. He shoots him specifically because he's like, "Come on, Guy, here I am, right in front of you." And then he's like, "Not very smart, Smarty." And then he hits him with the mace, and he goes, "I'm the human target." He goes, "See, the way I figure it, he needed all his will to keep the ice down. When he decides to put even an ounce of that will into me,
yeah, that's true.
well, it can get awful cold very fast, or whatever, that kind of thing."
Yeah, and they
Um,
and to stress the kind of femme fatale stuff going on after they kill him, and Ice is like, "Yeah, I'm sorry we killed him. That's a shame." She just straddles him to fuck, like right there.
So the
as
fucked
Guy
up
is
part,
dead.
like, to me, is that one of the pages in this is, I mean, so he's essentially frozen, like, not nitroglycerin. What is it?
well,
nitrogen
Ice.
oxide. Terminator 2.
Right.
Whatever happens to the thing in Terminator 2.
What's the fucking, like, you can put something into it and then you take it out and break it?
I think it's nitrogen.
Nitrogen oxide. But either way, it's what happens to
Nitrogen
the
oxide?
T1000. He
Oh, yeah, because I said glycerin. That's not right. Nitrogen oxide. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the
All right, so
T1000 when he gets
anyway,
frozen.
there's a shattered piece of Guy on the ground, and then as it melts, and literally there's a panel of it melting, and it's like turns into red mush, and I'm like, how do you fake that with a Green Lantern ring? Like,
Well, there may have
literally
been blood.
They're literally sitting in it. Yeah, but it's like his whole body on the ground. It's
I
melting.
mean, look,
It's just
the Guardians of Oa are millennia old. They've crafted the most powerful.
I don't know,
rings in
man.
the
They're sitting there
universe.
on the couch. The reason I thought it was real is because they're sitting on there on the couch after they fucked in a weird desk chair, and there's just a pile of mush under a overturned table.
Well, the
on
the real question
Like,
is,
I was like,
is
"That's
Guy?
gotta be
So
real."
where is Guy now? Just watching them fuck after they murdered him? Because he's not dead.
Yeah, I don't know.
So is he just looking at
No
them
idea.
do it?
No,
after?
he ran 20 minutes away to play pool in a bar.
So he's already 20 minutes away.
Yeah, he left. Yeah.
Okay. You're sure
You know
he
why
didn't
he
stick
did it?
around? You're
You
sure
know
he
why he
didn't
did
poke
it?
his head around a
Because
window?
Ice told him not to.
You sure he didn't poke his head around a window?
No, I don't think so.
It's a little weird.
So anyway, he goes back to his office. He leaves Ice's house. He goes back to his office and or his Luigi pizzeria. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, there's another attractive woman upstairs for you." And he's like, "What?"
There,
And
he's
he
got it.
"Oh no!" And it's
It's
fire.
fire. What's the only thing hotter than
Fire.
ice is fire.
Fire.
Yeah,
Fire.
and that's part one.
Part 1
That's part one.
of the human.
We're gonna do
Human
part
target.
2.
But I
Human
guess we'll
target.
get to this a little bit more, but with both ice and fire, I know we already mentioned this, but I just want to hammer home. I do like the character work that Tom King does, and take these characters who are just cute, hot little superheroines in this group and turn them into sort of more dangerous, more fleshed out, cool, powerful, scary, cool
Yeah, it's amazing.
people.
Yeah.
I like to.
We'll get into it in the next episode, but fire is kind of
Right.
terrifying in this next issue.
Right. It's terrifying or hot. I
Anyways,
kind of get what Martian Manhunter
I mean, she's. What are you talking about? It's like she's objectively gorgeous.
See ya, everybody, in the next episode.
Journey. That's the next episode.